Random Hamster. Alright, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to another video here on the channel. You know, it's really been a while since I made a video like this. I think the last leak video that I made was like 2 months ago, 3 months ago or something like that. It was definitely before the Crota raid even came out, so it's been a while. It's been a while. Regardless of that, I have some new leaks covering Season 23 and the final shape. So I thought I'd share them with you guys, and I'm pretty sure this has to go without saying, but just for the people in the back, take this with a grain of salt. Nothing is confirmed. But yeah, let's hop into it. Okay, so starting off with Season 23 leaks. It starts off by saying Dragon's Breath is going to be the seasonal exotic, obviously with a side note saying that this was news when they first heard about it. As everyone knows already, it's going to be an exotic. That returns pretty early. It goes on to say that the seasonal activities are going to be 3 battlegrounds. Each one begins at the Wish Wall, where players can shoot a certain number to determine each seasonal upgrade. Doing this will trigger random challenges or buffs. Now, 2 things right off the bat, right? First thing with the Dragon's Breath, when it was first announced, I was like, yay, but at the same time, I was like, I kind of really want Kvastov instead, because in my opinion, out of the weapons that are coming back, I don't know why, but like Kvastov just has me more hyped than Dragon's Breath or Red Death. Maybe Red Death is a little bit up there too, but you know. Then I read the perks that they were kind of reworking and how it's reimagined. I thought it sounded pretty cool, but it also sounded a little bit confusing on how the things are going to work. And honestly, now that I think about it, you know, it has a really good chance to be a really good damage weapon, if not a really good ad clearing weapon. But at the same time, I notoriously do not use rockets for ad clear, so looks like my vault's gonna get another weapon. But the second thing is, if this leak turns out to be true, I don't know how 3 distinct battlegrounds is going to carry us for the next 7 months. As you all may know, I mean, I'm not really saying this is confirmed yet, because Bungie has been kind of like I don't know, wishy-washy on like the information. Actually, they haven't even confirmed the delays yet, and truthfully, they've also stated twice that the final shape is still coming out on the release date that it was already planned to, which was like February 27th, I believe. So they said this in a recent press release and somewhere else too. But if the delays turn out to be true, do you guys really want to be playing Battlegrounds for the next 7 months? Like, I mean, just saying that gives me a reverse boner. Like, I don't like that at all. So that seems to be it for Season 23. Let's get into the final shape. This starts off talking about the new destination that we're going to go to, and it says it's going to be made of very little one-to-one reused assets, but the old set pieces that are going to be used are from King's Fall, Vow of the Disciple, and Vault of Glass, but they're going to be changed significantly. Rolk apparently is going to come back as a campaign boss, although it's really just going to be a model that they use. However, Ghost will comment on the similarities, which, you know, I wonder if this is referring to those Strand and stasis wielding tormentors that we saw in the final shape release just a couple of months ago, because they definitely look a lot like Rolk. Carrying on though, they say that the Lucian Hive are going to be in the Traveler as well, kind of the same way Cade is, so they're not really going to be alive, so to speak, but they're being used as the Traveler's main resistance to the Witness. One mission actually requires you to make a tenuous alliance with Ekthar to fight a shadow of Oryx using Hive magic. I kind of like how they keep touching on Ekthar's story a little bit, and if this is true, you know, he would have went from serving Oryx and just kind of being like an enemy that we kill for a certain quest back in D1, and then now in D2 he's a dungeon boss working under Savathun, and now that we killed him, he's ready to help defend the Traveler because he's a guardian too, technically. I think it's safe to say that bro's in his revenge arc, and I would be too if the same person clapped me twice in a row, which is kind of insane if I'm really thinking about it. This then goes on to say that the Pale Heart is genuinely large, pause, and the Tree of Silver Wings is one of these side areas that you can go to. It apparently has a mechanic where it gives you a collectible that's earned through doing a challenge in the Pale Heart. This is used to unlock rewards like red borders and exotics, and actually I'm pretty sure if this leak does turn out to be true, you know, this could be used for the seal, which, I mean, if I'm honest, it's probably going to be hard as hell to get like a Kingslayer title or something. Apparently the Tree of Silver Wings is something to be long term and made to keep players coming back. Something that's really interesting though is that we're going to have a 4-phase boss fight in the raid against the Witness, where at the end a new darkness is going to be released into the world, and apparently the lore and Vow of the Disciple is going to be rivaled by this raid. Which, I mean, if you guys know the lore behind the Vow of the Disciple raid, it's a pretty good story, man. Why the pyramid's there in the first place, what's actually in the pyramid with Zeta, and then we have Rolk's backstory too. Like, it's pretty good, man. Now this part ends off by saying there's no new planned subclass for the final shape, however it is in development. The leaks a couple of months ago were true, and they might end up including the subclass if the delays actually do happen. Now here's the big question: would you rather wait 7 months for all the stuff that we were promised, right? And maybe an extra thing with the final shape subclass that, you know, was leaked, right? The red subclass, along with the other subclasses that we're confirmed getting? Or would you rather have all that now and then have the final shape subclass be delayed to Echoes, which is the first episode, right? Like if we got a subclass during the first episode, I feel like that would be pretty cool. However, if I have to wait 7 months for a lot of content and the content has a higher chance of being like a 10 out of 10, then yeah, I'd rather have the 7-month wait. Speaking of Echoes, we have another tab that includes Echoes leaks. So it begins off by saying Venus returns, and actually missions on Venus were planned for Lightfall but got cut because so much of the work was actually done. It then goes on to say that Osiris's echoes were sent out into the Infinite Forest to go explore but have been subsumed by the Vex, and subsumed just means to absorb something. And apparently we're going to get to see a new Vex type of enemy, and it's going to be a special buffer unit, which I'm glad that we finally get to see some more of the Vex, or at least the ones that do the actual combat, because what we've been fighting right now were just like construction workers essentially. Actually, the Wyverns are probably the first combat class that we've even seen in Destiny, so if this leak is true, I'm really excited to see this new combat class. And apparently there's going to be a new effect that's added to the game that's going to be a tease to the next subclass, which is called Withered. I guess apparently due to the absorption that the Vex did on one of Osiris's echoes, this is going to make one of the echoes the main boss of the campaign, and apparently he's going to control Precursor Vex. So I guess those are the ones that were on Venus all the way back in D1. Ending off with the subclasses, apparently one is going to be released with an episode when it's ready, and the internal code name is called Terror. Like I said before, this is going to have a wither effect, and apparently it debuffs the movement speed and fire rate of enemies that you hit. There's also going to be a decompose component with a focus on damage over time, and a mind control ability apparently, which could be very cool to see. As for my final thoughts on everything, this one kind of seems like the most realistic outcome, as it doesn't seem too dependent on the hope of the community and what they want going forward, but only time will tell. That's going to be it for me today, guys. I hope you did enjoy. If you did, hit that like button. If you want more content similar to this, hit that subscribe button. I'll see you in the next one. Sub up, stay safe, and peace.